Mr. Secretary General, Your Excellency, Prime Minister Huang, Governor Kim, Major Choi, co-chairs of the National Organizing Committee and the planning committees, Dr. Carlin, Dr. Choi, Excellencies, representatives of the academia, non-governmental organizations, communities, youth, ladies and gentlemen, good and enthusiastic morning to everybody. Ana Young Hashim Nika. I learned it in a few hours. I promise I'll do my best at the end of the conference, and I'll do better. My name is Cristina Gallac. I'm the Undersecretary General for Communications and Public Information of the United Nations. And it is for me a real honor, a true honor, to be here and welcome all of you to the 66th United Nations Department of Public Information Non-Governmental Organizations Conference. We are thrilled to be here with you together and to bring on board a coalition of partners and power in this beautiful city of Gyeongju. Thank you very much for making all the arrangements for us. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Governor. The work we will do here over the next few days under the theme Education for Global Citizenship, Achieving the Sustainable Development Goals Together is of extreme importance. We are here to demonstrate our commitment and determination to forge a new path forward, on one where national governments, local authorities, NGOs, academia, the private sector, the youth, and the United Nations work together to raise awareness about the work towards the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals, and in particularly Goal 4, the goal that deals on quality education for all. Clearly, the time for action is now. I should like to thank you, our dedicated partners, for helping to arrive at this point. The NGO DPI Executive Committee, the National Organizing Committee, led by Handong Global University, the National Association for Nonprofit Organizations in Korea, the United Nations Academic Impact in Korea, and the Dream Touch for All, a very wonderful NGO. I would like also to thank the gracious hosts in this wonderful country for making this possible. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs, who in turn have been supported by the Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Interior. And I also want to express our thanks to the local authorities and the province of North Gyeongsang and the city of Gyeongju for their truly outstanding support. This is a state-of-the-art conference facility, which will be our home for the next few days, and which is affectionately known as the HICO, will serve the work of the participants very well. I would also like to thank the numerous volunteers who served on the National Organizing Committee and the Conference Planning Committee, dedicating countless hours of their work to bringing all of us here together. It's fantastic to see this room full of energetic people. And it is now my great pleasure to invite the Secretary General of the United Nations, Mr. Ban Ki-moon, to address the opening of the conference. Secretary General.
Your Excellency, Mr. Hwang Kyo-ahn, Prime Minister of the Republic of Korea, Honorable Mr. Kim Kwan-young, Governor of North Gyeongsang Province, Honorable Mr. Choi Yang-sik, Mayor of Gyeongju City, distinguished co-chairman of the conference, Dr. Jang Sun-hong, Mr. Yi Il-ha, Mr. Choi Yu-gang, and Mr. Scott Carlin, distinguished leaders from the worlds of arts and academia, esteemed leaders of non-governmental organizations from around the world, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. 안녕하십니까? Bonjour. As Secretary General of the United Nations, it's a great honor and pleasure for me to open and attend this UNDPI NGO conference, the first time it is held in Asia, here in Gyeongju, Korea. The first time in Asia. This city of Gyeongju, as well known, was the capital of Shilla's dynasty, which lasted for 1,000 years. Still today, monuments here show that era's remarkable cultural, historical achievement. I wish to pay tribute to the citizens and government of Gyeongju for their warm welcome and generous support for this DPI NGO conference. I'm especially grateful to Honorable Governor Kim Kwan-young, Honorable Mayor Choi Yang-sik, and co-chairman Dr. Jang Sun-hong of the Handong Global University. Without their generous support and excellent arrangement, this conference would not have been possible. I thank you for all your support. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a powerful gathering of representatives of non-governmental organizations, or we call NGOs. You have such a positive impact to my mind. NGOs really stands for Networks of Global Opportunities. NGOs are on the vanguard of international action. Throughout history, when governments reach a stalemate, NGOs work to break it. Your tireless advocacy helped the world adopt international bans on landmines and cluster munitions. Your relentless drive has promoted gender equality, climate change, human rights, and sustainable development goals. One of the important lessons I have learned during the last 10 years as a Secretary General of the United Nations is the value of partnership. Partnership with NGOs, civil societies. Without the participation of non-governmental organizations and civil society groups, no initiative, however visionary, however good, it's not possible, cannot be fully achieved. That's a very valuable lessons which I have learned. I'm such a strong believer in NGOs. I constantly called on the governments to expand space, expand some political, economic, social space for NGOs to work freely without any hindrance. 4 days ago, at the Jeju Forum for Peace and Prosperity, I denounced the shrinking democratic space, and I urged the freedom for civil society organizations and non-governmental organizations and human rights defenders. Unfortunately, that freedom is under threat, including at the last place this should happen, at the United Nations, unfortunately. I'm deeply disappointed that the member states of ECOSOC NGO Committee recently denied the Committee to Protect the Journalists consultative status. I was also opposed to the exclusion of LGBT organizations from the upcoming high-level meeting on ending AIDS. These NGOs are close to communities affected by the epidemic, and they must be part of the response.